Hi guys, welcome to this video. Now I've been asked by a few people to do a video about how I anchor my kayak when fishing, how I've set it up, what's needed to do it. And so this is my kayak with the anchor trolley attached. At the front there's a pulley, and the pulley is attached to a link onto a metal pad eye. Then I've got some plastic pad eyes screwed and glued down the length of the kayak to another pulley attached at the stern, and of course one end's through the pad eyes and the other end's open, and a metal link joining the two ends together. This little contraption is a line lock, so I can actually put it on there and it locks the line in that position. It's not used very often, but it is very handy if you haven't got the link either all the way to the front or all the way to the back. So at the front it's just like this, and of course that will pull all the way through to the stern, just like that. So that's a full length anchor trolley, and on the other side, the left hand side, I've got a 3/4 length. Now this same sort of setup at the bow, but it doesn't reach the stern, it stops at about midships, and this is just really used if you need to pull the bow of the kayak into the waves because the wind is slightly different to the current, etc. Very rarely I use it, but it's there in case I do. This also has a lock on it because you want to be as comfortable as possible. Now I've also put these pins, little bobbins on, just to keep the cable nice and tidy. As you can see, it just wraps around exactly the same as the other one. So that is my kayak, the way I've set it up with the 1.5 anchor trolleys. Now let's go look at the anchor itself. Right guys, so this is my anchor. It's a quite small compact anchor. It only weighs 1.5 kilograms, about 3 pounds in old money. I like this type of anchor because it's got a little collar, and that locks and actually keeps it nice and secure for transportation when it's on the kayak not being used. What you do, you just turn this little collar. That shows your prongs. That goes down and locks in, just like that. And that's it set up for working. Now there's two ways you can attach an anchor. I use what they call the bridle method, which is a bit of marine cord running from the front to the back of the anchor, and in that you've got a shackle which can slide to and fro the anchor, the cord. So when you've anchored normally, it's in this position, and of course that's then pulling in. I like this way because when you come to retrieve the anchor, if you just lift up, it just lifts itself up any snags, like that. Or if it does come well and truly snagged, you have to go up current from it, and then that gets pulled backwards, lifting it up like that. So that's the anchor. Then we come to the chain, which is on that bridle method. I got a link screwed on and about 1.5 meters of chain. On the end of the chain, got another link and some more marine cord. This is 6 mil, I think, 8 mil. That's really just for rubbing, just in case there's any rocks or anything snags down there, it doesn't rub it out. From there I've attached 4mm paracord to a handmade frame which I wrap it round. I've got a couple of links. If I pop it through that link like that, it locks it in, and this end of this link goes up to my float, which I'll show you in a minute. Now I use 4mm paracord just because it's nice and it's quite thick and I can handle it better. What most people use is a dive reel. This is just a particular type of a dive reel, and dive reels are normally loaded with about 2mm paracord. Plenty strong enough, but I just find it a bit thin. And also with the reel, I find it just too long by the time you've wound and wound and wound and wound to reel in your anchor, especially at depth. Because some of the places I anchor at are coming on 30 meters deep, and you need at least twice the depth, 3 times preferably, but 90 meters of 4mm paracord would be huge. So I've got 60 meters of paracord on that, which is enough in those instances, and then I've got plenty of spare for instances I'm not so deep. As I said, that attaches to a float, and the float I use is an old dive float, just being a diver as well. I've got a surface marker buoy, and that attaches to the top via a link, so that then floats, so all this gets thrown in the water. The bit that's attached to the kayak is another bit of marine cord, slightly thinner, with another link on the end. That gets put on there, so now I'm attached to that as well. And at the other end, the other end I've got another link which attaches to my anchor trolley. You'll notice from that link to the paracord or to the black cord, I've got some bungee, and what that does, if it is rough and waves are doing this, the bungee takes up any pressure. So as it becomes pressure, it stretches, just smoothens things out a bit. So that is the basic setup. So we've got the anchor to the bridle, to the anchor chain itself, which is then to a rubbing leader, attached to the paracord, on a big reel, attached to a float, and then also attached to the kayak via more cable to a bit of bungee at the end. It looks highly complicated, but it is quite simple really. So let's spread that out a bit and let's show you in one piece. GoPro, stop recording. So this is it set up. So I've got my anchor on my bridle, which is out in its what you'd call its anchored position. So then we've got the chain, and then the rubbing cord attached to the paracord, which then goes to your reel or whatever little frame you're winding it on. That's attached to your float, and then you've got more cord going through around, which is about 3 meters long, to about a meter of bungee cord and a carabiner at the end that attaches to your anchor trolley on your kayak. That is basically my anchor setup. Of course, when it's all dismantled, it goes down to a really small collection of stuff, which I will pack this away and show you just how small it will go to, and then that lives in my box I put on the back of the kayak. GoPro, stop recording. So when it's all packed away, everything gets wrapped around the reel. So that's one little bit, and my inflatable buoy deflated. So that's as small as it goes. I mean, that's how big my hand is. I mean, that's really quite tiny. And then that goes in my box. Now, another thing you can use your anchor trolley for, of course, is a drift chute. Now, this is my drift chute. Let's unravel it a moment. So, what we got is about 1 metre square of waterproof fluorescent orange material, nice and bright, which I've seamed and put attached little loops in each corner. Attached to the loops is more 4mm and we'll tangle it, 4mm paracord, and then a little short bit of black cord, which is the same as I used on my anchor trolley, a float which is double wrapped with things so it stops it disappearing, stops it moving, and also it keeps the drone, the drift chute, from sinking itself just by it keeps it up a bit. Small bit of black bungee on that for the same reason. It just eliminates or just reduces any stretching or any sharp movements if you're going through slightly choppy seas. What you can do, of course, that goes onto your anchor trolley and gets pushed out the front or the back depending on the way you drift. If you've seen or watched any of my videos, you'd probably see the drift chute out the front. My original one was a big white one, but this bright orange one, so you see it out the front as I'm fishing. What you can do, if it's if you don't want the drift chute out so far, you can put this down, and I just put that on there and then attach it. Ignore the black bit totally. It just slows the drift down sometimes. But that is my drift chute, homemade. It's amazing what you can do with a sewing machine when you put your mind to it during lockdown. But still, that's another story. But the drift chute, if anything, is more useful than an anchor. The anchors are great, but the drift chute, it just slows your drift right down. And also, if it's windy, it pulls the bow or the stern, depending if you go to the front or the rear, into the wind, which is normally into the waves, which is nice, a lot calmer. Because the worst one thing you don't want when you're drifting is to be square onto the waves, because then you're moving side to side, and then you've got more chance of being unstable. But lengthways, you're a lot more stable. So I'd recommend more a drift chute than I would an anchor, certainly to begin with. Anchors are good, but not as good as a drift chute. Well, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to put a thumbs up for it, press the like button, don't forget to subscribe, because I need more subscribers, and throw any comments up. Anything else you'd like to know, the way I work things, more than happy and willing to share the information. Thanks a lot. Bye bye for now.